Okay, so now we've come to some finishing techniques on the ground. Now this is my jam because I'm a jiu-jitsu guy. And so I've actually been doing these techniques for about 30 years now. And so there's a lot of synergy between these techniques and techniques that I've done in jiu-jitsu. And we're gonna start with Omote Gyaku, the outside wrist lock, and we're gonna start that with a punch. So when my opponent throws a punch at me, I'm gonna come here and block it and catch it. And when I catch it, I've got my thumbs here right under his knuckles, and I'm gonna turn him for Omote Gyaku and take him to the ground. Now, I can finish Omote Gyaku with Omote Gyaku, and there's also some pressure on his elbow here. One thing you wanna maybe take note of is that I've turned him on his side, okay? Turning him on his side does many things. So first thing is if I throw somebody hard, and they wanna land on their side because it's safer. Their shoulder acts a little bit like a pillow, like this, right? So there's easier to break fall. If you throw someone flat on their back, their head's gonna bounce off the ground, right? So it's better for them to land on the side for just training purposes. But in real life purposes, it's better also for me because it immobilizes his left hand there, right? So it immobilizes that hand. If I was doing this position, I was close to him, he could grab my throat, he could grab my hair, he could grab me in the groin or something, he could throw me over, he could punch me. There's not a lot of leverage behind that punch, but it still could be there to cause some problems for me. So having him up here makes it a lot better for me. Now I can continue turning the wrist to continue Omote Gyaku, but his elbow is also right here. So wherever the pinky finger is, that's always in line with the elbow. So if I follow the pinky down, I'll find his elbow. And by having my knee against his body like this and pushing pressure forward, I can create a lot of pressure on his elbow, just like that. So that's the first one, Omote Gyaku. So I've got him on his side, I take a deep step into his armpit, I have him on his side, I pull his arm back to make the submission. That could be an elbow lock right there. He feels that on his elbow a little bit. If I continue twisting, I can continue with Omote Gyaku. Now I can also bring him down to the ground here, and I can finish with Omote Takeori. I'm gonna have you come up for a second. Let's talk about Omote Takeori. Takeori in Japanese means bamboo. Omote Takeori is like breaking bamboo. Now, bamboo, when it breaks like, it shatters all over the place. And when you break a wrist like this in Omote Takeori, it oftentimes causes a compound fracture. I've seen it before, not in training, but I've seen it in competition, where someone had a really tough wrist break there and it shattered it. Omote Takeori. Omote Takeori can be done from a lot of positions, but a principle of jiu-jitsu, and it's a principle that I originally heard in probably like the late 80s, early 90s from a person named Professor Wally J. And he was the founder of Small Circle Jiu-Jitsu. And Small Circle Jiu-Jitsu is a lot different than what I do. However, I learned a lot of principles from him. And one principle is to create a base. And so let's say the punch comes and I'm here and I try Omote Takeori here. It will never work because there's no base, okay? I can use my body as the base, okay? So that creates a base. But the ground always creates a base. The ground, and a base, what it does is it immobilizes a person, it stabilizes the person. And so when we have the ground, go ahead. When I'm here, I take them to the ground. Now the ground has created the base for us, okay? And so that's why these submissions can be very practical on the ground because it immobilizes our opponent. Now when we think of Omote Takeori, here he doesn't feel it, here he doesn't feel it, here he doesn't feel it, but once, boom, we hit that ground, we hit that mat, and I've created the base, then he's gonna feel it. So now that I'm here, if I wanna create Omote Takeori, all I need to do is come back and apply pressure straight down. I could have my knee on the ground here applying pressure, and this is smashing into his wrist, but also, if I wanna be super mean, sorry Cody, I can also take my knee and drive my knee into that. And as I push down, it's definitely breaking the wrist here, but if you want to be super mean, you can apply pressure straight down and twist. So you're getting the Omote Gyaku twist, you're getting the downward break, and man, it's a powerful, painful technique. So I want to show something regarding Omote Takeori right now. So this is a submission that I get all the time in live grappling in jiu-jitsu classes. So I got caught by this once about 25 years ago, maybe about 25 years ago. Someone caught me in this. And after they tapped me, and we were training, we were live grappling. After they did it to me, I was like, man, how'd you do that? And they showed me. And ever since, I've been using this all the time. So when I'm working with somebody here, maybe I get an arm drag or something, I have a chance to catch their wrist. And this will happen all the time. So in this scenario, I did it off an arm drag. I'm here, hold on, just catch the wrist, arm drag, now the wrist is here. The nice thing about the arm drag is if I do catch Omote Takeori, his elbow's against me, and so I've created a base back here to make that lock. Now whether we have an arm drag or we're just, hand control, wrist control, and we just end up here, when you bring your hand down to someone's hand like that and you grab the top of their knuckles, they will instinctually start to squirm their wrist around. And so when I'm here, as he starts to squirm his wrist around, it'll just go where I need it to and I'll catch it. Before I learned that trick, I tried this over and over and over again in live grappling, and it never worked for me. And it oftentimes would look like my shirt, and I escaped him, and I come here, and I just try to catch it. And it never works. Just kind of stiff wrist me and don't let me. I can't get it. It's like, it's impossible. You don't make like a Kimura grip. No, I still can't get it. Here, how about this one? Oh, that one I got it. Ready? No, I still can't get it. So I just hold them. They just start squirming. I feel them squirming. They'll squirm to the point of no return, and you'll catch them. So that's how I get people in Omote Takeori all the time. Omote Takeori also reminds me of a story of Shoto Tanemura. Now this is a curriculum based on Hatsumi senseis, and at the same time I realized that there is some maybe politics or beef between both of these senseis, so I don't know anything about it, right? I just know that I was a young kid and I was training with Shoto Tanemura, and they wouldn't teach me anymore because I started doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and they just refused to teach me, so I had to leave. But when I did train with Shoto Tanemura, we was talking about, hey, I'm in wrestling with my friends, and this guy keeps getting on top of me and crushing me, and I don't know how to get out. And he said something to me. He said, and it was translated because he spoke it in like Japanese or like really broken English, and it was translated. And he said, you're gonna laugh about this. He said, if you're in a really bad spot, but you're good at martial arts, you're a martial artist, heavenly light will shine upon you, and you'll find the way out. Heavenly light. Mm-hmm. So I am wrestling Jason, Big Jason. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I'm wrestling Jason, and he's got me on my back. This is just a week ago, and I'm about to see the heavenly light because I'm dying right now. He's choking me. He's crushing me. I'm dying. I have no way out. And I'm turned in a really awkward position where none of my basic escapes will work at all. Nothing's gonna work. I'm basically, my hand comes up to tap, and he adjusts his hand for the choke, and when he did, I caught his hand, and I just held on to it. And when I did, he moved his wrist, and I wrist locked him, I tapped him out. And all I could think of was, dang, heavenly light shined on me right there. So it's a pretty cool story. But that's my stories with Omote Takeori. It's a really good wrist lock. So I'm here. Now, this leg is going to come here. I'm going to switch my stance, okay? Now, I bring my elbow to my shin, which is going to force him to move that way. Now, also, as I'm controlling with his elbow, I can grab his fingers back. Oh, that's really mean, isn't it? So I have a finger lock in his elbow. Now, from here, with his arm like this, I can bring it down, and I can kneel right on his arm to break his elbow. I'm lifting this up, boom, just like that. This last technique in the series is Gyaku. This one is similar technique, but the pressure is going to affect the shoulder now, so it's a shoulder lock. So now let's go. Let's say I take him down here. I've got him on the ground again. All right, here like this. Now, from the ground position, from here, I can catch him here and put him on his stomach, and I can pull his arm back to create a pressure on his shoulder. So I've got him here. Oftentimes people will try to turn to their stomach anyways. So if he turns to his stomach from here, I can just keep the pressure on him Sorry, Cody, you okay? So I can keep the pressure on him. And I can pull the arm back here like that to create a shoulder lock. Another thing that happens to me all the time when I do Omote Gyaku is when I do this, they turn over and they're already to their belly. So go ahead, go all the way to your belly. And if I miss it, I can move to this side, and it's really the same motion. So I do have a bit of a wrist lock here, but by lifting the arm in that direction, it's going to put pressure on his shoulder, creating Gyaku, the shoulder lock. In this particular one, I'm using my body to create a lot of the pressure, but my hands can do it as well. Look guys, it's a bonus right now that he can't use his hand. His hand's trapped underneath him. So I can just crank back an arm there, or switch position and crank back an arm this way. All right, you guys, if I didn't mess it up, that concludes 7th Q level. Thanks for your help, buddy. Jay, cameraman, thanks bro.